Nice to start your day with that positivity.
Right.
All right. Hello, everyone. Say hello back if you can hear us.
I can hear you.
Cool.
Hello.
Figure we'll give people a little time to filter in before we get started.
Mm-hmm. Here, I'll reset us to the...
Sure. In fact, do you want to switch seats altogether?
Ooh, fancy. Sure.
All right. Highly technical process of walking around the green screen.
We're gonna mulligan the opening seating position.
You never really want an airball in your starting hand. Which feed will we be monitoring? We're going to monitor both and do neither particularly well.
Yeah. It was one of those moments where, one of those many moments where it was like, Brain was like, we have a joke. And I was like, great, let's let her rip. No, we have one. That's all we've got for you. We're acknowledging that a joke could exist here. It's like, oh, I've already reacted in a way that makes it seem like I have a joke that I can say. Thank you.
It's like the worst Spidey sense ever.
Yeah.
Just useless.
Yes. There's comedic potential here. Oh, thanks.
Someone smarter than you could find it. All right. Looks like we've got some people in the YouTubes and some people in the Twitch, and I think that's probably good enough to get started.
Yeah. We don't have to, record this or anything? Or is it the...
If recording is needed... Oh, you mean for YouTube? No, it automatically will save.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I think you can't is because it has worked in the past. I never did it, and no one has the courage to touch this except me. So...
I have the courage to touch it. I just don't have the courage to face what will happen afterward.
That would have been a pretty bad time to walk into the stream.
Yep.
There was comedic potential there.
Yeah.
Hey, Manatee. All right. So I guess we should get right down to it. Today we are going over deck lists that were submitted for our review by our wonderful patrons. And if you want to get in on the action for next month, we do this every month, then you can head on over to our Patreon and sign up at the appropriate tier. I'm not sure what that is, but it's there.
Yeah.
And starting things off, we have...
This is the Twilight Sovereign has submitted a...
Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. The Twilight Sovereign has submitted this Vihan Gold Waker deck, which is, I think a very cool commander that has... It was like super hyped when people first saw it, and then it got just kind of drowned in the avalanche of new commanders. But
there's too many new commanders printed for any one of them to stick out if it wasn't great.
All right. Yeah, I think this one's very interesting and not super busted, but you have a weird, fun angle to go at. Your outlaws, assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, warlocks have vigilance and haste, and at your combat you turn all of your treasures into 3/3 construct assassin artifact creatures. So they are then hasty and vigilant.
Okay. I still can't remember what outlaws
are. As I believe coined by maybe Loading Ready Run, you just have to remember Warm P. Warlocks, assassins, rogues, mercenaries, pirates.
Why are their numbers so much higher than numbers again?
Yes.
Let's take a look.
Okay. Planeswalkers. I think any deck that is running any deck in Mardu colors.
I just want to make sure I can see the whole kit and caboodle. There we go.
Yes, any deck that is Mardu colors should be running Dahada. This card is super, super broken. And look at that. It creates treasures. So you could not ask for any more than this. Card is good. Nahiri, to me, all Nahiris are bad. They're just, I wish they were better. I wish they did anything relevant. They don't at all. I agree with my own thoughts on that for this. I think this is a bad card. But, you don't know, Nahiri, cool character, I guess, if you want to play it.
Nahiri, the harbinger of mediocrity.
Yes. And Kaya. So these two just seem like repeatable removal, I guess. That's fine. I just feel like Planeswalkers in general usually get more hate than they deserve, and you won't get a chance to activate them a second time. All right. Bread and butter creatures. We have a lot of things making treasures. I like this card. I think more people should play it because you can also punish the other players that have stacks of artifact tokens. It looks like we are very much leaning into creating treasures, and then benefiting from those like in multiple ways. We're already looking like, I guess both of these are rogues. Not a rogue here. Not a lot of the creatures are the relevant warm P creature types. We're just making treasures, and that I think is a fine way to approach this. Yep. If you need to win games.
I have died many times to NerdGirl's Marionette Master.
We were looking through this, and I was like, why is this in here? Because like I think this is a generically very good card. Making 4 3/3s every rotation. That's good, but it does also buff the treasures that become creatures. So you are then swinging with 5/5s.
Do you think that there are any cool additions from Assassin's Creed? Because I feel like free running would work very well in a deck built around assassins attacking.
I had not thought about that. And a lot of the I'm thinking about it because the free running triggers off of commanders. Who knows why, but then also assassins, and this does specifically make those treasures assassins. You're pretty much guaranteed to get one of those through. Yes, I want to say there is a second combat free running that's like 3 mana for an extra combat, and then you get another, since your treasures have vigilance, they're ready to swing again.
Yeah, it seems made for this, actually.
Yeah. Does anybody know the name of that card? It's from Assassin's Creed. It has free running, and the free running cost, I believe, is 3, giving you an additional combat.
Hopefully, it's in these colors.
It's in red. It's mono red.
Okay.
And yeah. Oltec Matter Weaver, I think there could be a better. I think this card is very cool, but I think there could be a better option for this, because this is when you're casting a creature spell, but there are only 19 creature spells, and 20 if you count the commander in the deck. That's pretty low, and you're only making copies of either your 1/1 gnome or a treasure. I don't think there are other targets that are much better here.
Chad is suggesting that the card you're looking for is Overpowering Attack.
Yes, that sounds right.
Great. Thank you, based god.
Yeah. I think the last thing that sticks out here to me is Ruthless Knave. This is super cute. Because you can pay 3 and sacrifice a creature to make 2 treasures. But if your treasures are creatures, then you feel good just like, great, I will full send all of my treasure army at you. Oh, you've blocked with your larger creatures? I will sack those to create more treasures that will then be creatures.
Yeah, it's kind of cool also just strategically because a lot of these ramp decks can draw one side of the deck, the treasure makers, and not the payoffs. And this one, if you draw it, make sure that you can convert one into the other.
Yeah.
If you too many treasures, you can turn them into cards or treasures depending on what you need.
Okay. Sorceries. I think you all should be playing more of this card. I think a lot of people miss that this one is... Tragic Arrogance is different than the other, like, balancy board wipes because you are the person that picks for everybody. Normally it is that each player picks a one of each. This one is you pick, so it is very, very powerful.
It is a little weird if you're going to have a ton of creatures. I mean, you get to save one naming artifact and one naming creature, and that's it, right? You go wide and Tragic Arrogance feels a little strange.
Yes. With no other note, yes.
Okay.
It does feel strange if you're balancing where you're trying to go wide on something. Actually, that leads to an even bigger point. There are no creature board wipes here. Like there's no wrath effects, which seems, now that you've mentioned it, especially good because this does not animate your treasures until the beginning of combat. So you could run like Slash the Ranks here, wipe everything except for your commander, and then have a wide open board to swing with all of your treasures.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I feel like I will typically, in decks that like treasures, just auto-include Big Score and Unexpected Windfall. Those seem good, and I think they're better than Seize the Spoils.
Well, they are also in the deck. Just
oh yes, because I'm looking at sorceries. So yes, what a good idea that you've had. Twilight Sovereign. Wow,
we're good at this.
Excellent. Good job with those. Yeah, between the instants and sorceries removals, okay. I some more board wipes, especially since they are particularly good here.
Fracture feels like a weird meta call.
Artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker?
Yeah.
For 2 mana? It's flexible.
Okay.
You take out your opponent's Nahiri.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I think this is one of many fine removal spells. I wouldn't want that for any more mana than that, but
yeah, I feel like Vanishing Verse would just hit more things.
Yeah. Or I'd be willing to pay one more for like a generous gift or Stroke of Midnight, but I think that's pretty okay. All right, artifacts. This is where all of our ramp's gonna be because we are not in rampy colors. I see 1, 2, 3 signets. That makes me happy. I guess this deck does not need a ton of ramp because it is making treasures, which you can just you can use. So,
and the curve was relatively low.
Yeah,
going through those, it like topped out at 4 or 5.
Yeah, like my base instinct is like, all right, now put all the talismans in, but this is probably fine. Network Terminal is very cute. I think it's not a great card, but I appreciate that. It is a synergy piece mana rock, so I won't complain. Okay. This seems like a meta call.
Wow. Who hurt you? What is this stopping? Oh man, there's a story behind this one for sure.
Yeah, it's so specific, especially considering what you have. It could just be like Grafdigger's Cage or something. That stops from graveyard.
Activate abilities of cards from graveyards is not something that Cage technically does.
Okay.
But it does stop them from entering the battlefield, and I'm not sure what activated ability from the graveyard doesn't just put the thing in play.
Yeah. Yeah, if you all know what this stops specifically, that is Commander relevant, let us know, but yeah, because you're also not like synergizing much with the second ability, creatures dying, gaining a life. I guess, yeah, a nice secondary way to convert your extra treasures into winning game.
Hey, Veggie, do treasures go to the graveyard?
Yes.
I feel like more people need to know that.
Oh, that is my number one comment on my own videos. Well, it's a token. It doesn't go to the graveyard. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's relevant for a Meat Hook Massacre.
Yes.
That's why you're saying that. Yes. So all of your treasures, when you've animated them, will trigger that. These look like generically good cards, minus Smuggler's Share.
Man, Smuggler's Share and Nahiri. Name a more disappointing duo.
Yes, Twilight Sovereign, I hope that your experience with this card has been better than literally anyone else's. Because it feels like it does so much, and in practice, I've never seen it be satisfying at all. This could be what? Trouble in Pairs. This could be Monologue Tax, I think, would be better than this.
Sure.
I guess, okay, I see, even though it's bad, none of the things that I've mentioned make treasures.
Specifically, sure.
So, yeah. There was like one other thing that what said just happened?
Oh my god.
So
yeah.
There was something, not Bloomborough.
There was OTJ. There was Assassin's Creed, Modern Horizons 3, Murders.
Yeah, Modern Horizons maybe. Something recently came out that like gave some goodies. Oh, it is Bloomborough. There's like second copy of Reign of Riches. One of the new classes is essentially this, but even better. It's like ETB, make 2 treasures, level up your treasures, tap for double, level up again whenever you spend treasure mana to cast a spell. It gains Cascade, or like it's probably the first spell.
Sure.
So that's a nice upgrade for this. Once those decks come out. Okay, and then we have a solid 36 lands. You already said the curve is pretty low, so that seems okay to me. It's a lot of basics, but that's...
I mean, you get a lot of color fixing with your treasures, right? So you can afford to run a bunch of basics.
Yeah, Ragavan. Put a Ragavan in.
Yeah, actually. He's homeless. He doesn't have a home in Modern anymore.
Right. I picked up that foil retro border Ragavan for $35.
And that was after Attacked, right? Like, that was just a terrible decision.
Yeah. I wanted it. It was pretty. Okay.
All right. So we've gone through the list, made some suggestions here and there about upgrades and removal. General sentiment, parting thoughts?
Happy to see Vihan getting some love. I think this is very solid. It leans very much into the treasure aspect of the build versus the outlaw side of it. Outside of like a few cards, I don't think I would sub too much here. I think there are like a handful of generically powerful cards that I would love to swap out for like just more synergistic, cute pieces like Debt to the Deathless. Like this is just in here because it's a good card. And then swapping out like the Nahiri and some of these other cards that are not terribly synergistic. But I think the core of this is really well built, and really leans into the thing. I feel pretty confident with a deck like this.
Yeah. So the thing that you're looking for most to improve the deck is some Warm P.
Yeah. Yes, but also very no. I don't think you need any of that if you're leaning into the treasure side of it. This is pretty clean. I like the power level that it's at. I would just like a handful of cards that seem like they were just space fillers.
Yeah. I think I would like a few more ways to close out the game is the only thing that I noticed doesn't really have a whole lot in the deck. There's a lot of interaction, but besides like Marionette Master, I can't think of anything explosive that just ends the game in one shot.
Okay. You could put like an Achroma's Will in here to get all of your treasures through.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Or maybe a few more like extra combat things like the overpowering attack.
Yep.
I'd be on board with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
One down.
Are we scoring these?
We need to make a decision on the fly about that. I don't think so. I don't like scoring it, but maybe people are expecting it now.
I will just simply give it the overall like veggie score of how much would I play this deck.
Sure.
I think the score is very high for me. It's right in my sweet spot for power level. It's a cool theme that seems to have been leaned into very heavily. There are some cute choices here and cards that are fun to play. I would probably give this like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'd totally play this deck without any changes.
All right,
we are on to
Thrun, made by
what I assume would be C. Caroni.
Most of a macaroni.
Yeah. Yes. Or like one from the ocean.
Yeah.
Thrun, Breaker of Silence. We've this has been played on the show. Not this deck's not this build of it, but a NerdGirl, I believe, won with this.
I don't remember who played it, honestly.
I'm pretty sure she did because this was Thrun that didn't get cast, and she just coasted off of an early Arwen that put a million counters on every creature.
So I was right. She didn't play it.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. 5/5 for 5 can't be countered. Trample can't be target of non-green spells on your opponent's control or abilities from non-green sources. And as long as it's your turn, indestructible. As green creature as you can possibly get.
Yep, it is the archetype.
Yes. Specifically, Sikaroni was curious about making the draw a little bit better in this deck.
As in finding ways to get through the deck faster, drawing more cards, keeping the gas. going.
That is what I'd assume. Okay. We have one Planeswalker, Garruk, which is just a Planeswalker. My instinct here is that this is not specifically good for this deck. It doesn't synergize with Thrun in particular. Like, it just does generic green things. I would guess we're not going wide in Thrun.
It seems to me like the reason you're using this card is to jam it on 4, play another creature, and then ult it literally the next turn and run over the board with that. Give trample somehow.
I guess. I mean, like, I guess.
I agree. I think I would cut that too, especially if the deck has other needs.
Yeah. All right. You will certainly have a turn 1 play in this deck. And I very much think that this is how you should be building mono green. Like, this is your big advantage, is that you ramp outrageously fast. And is there like one, there might maybe even be one missing? Delated Halfling. But yes. Love, happy to see the Mana Dorks.
I feel like Mana Dorks and Commander are just a lot better than in 60-card formats too, because 60-card, everyone will just bolt it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Commander, if you bolt it, then that means you're falling behind the other 2 players, so you're kind of just crabs in a bucket, taking both of the players down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. We have like some enchantment synergy, or I actually like a relatively fleshed out Enchantress package here.
So this is, I guess, how the deck gets its card draw as is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, which usually does go well with Thrun, since your typical Thrun deck is just Voltroning, because this thing is so hard to deal with. And a good way to do that is just slap a bunch of Auras on it. So I could see it.
Orthrus, thank you for being a patron. If you want to submit a deck list and you're at the right tier, then you can head on over to the channel in our Discord labeled that. It's like we're patron deck tech stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We won't take it this month, but it'll be in the next one if you submit it now.
Yeah. And then, we're clearly, like, Zapandrel and Nihilious Colossus, we're just trying to make a massive Thrun and go, great, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. Ta-da. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's anything here that's especially out of the ordinary to me. This seems solid stock. I like Collective Voyage. It really depends on who you're playing with, because I don't have anybody that I play with that lets me do these kinds of effects anymore.
What do you mean lets you?
That anybody that plays into these kinds of effects.
Okay.
Because, like, I'll be like, great, I'll pay my remaining 2 mana, and everybody gets to search for 2 more basic lands. Now everybody else will contribute, right? And they're like, absolutely not. You could maybe, I don't know, swap this with, like, what's his face? The 1-drop that when it dies, everybody ramps 2.
I don't know.
Whatever that guy's name is. It's green 1/1 for 1, and when it dies, everybody searches for 2 basics and puts them into play. But if you are in a play group, or or playing with very casually, where people are contributing to this, I think this is a very, very fun card. Okay.
Every dork, every rampant growth, we are getting our mana.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, though, I think Cultivate and Kodama's Reach are not good in mono green. Because for 3 mana, you're only ramping 1. and like you're grabbing a basic.
That's true. My thought was that in this particular mono green, it was better than usual because it ramps you from 3 to 5, and it gets you to Thrun 1 turn faster.
Yeah, I would want to do it. I would want to do it with different cards, though. You could do it with Harrow, which is sacrifice a land. Sacrifice a land, grab 2 untapped basics. You could do it with Nissa's Pilgrimage, which is search 2 forests, 1 in play tapped, 1 to hand. But if you have Spell Mastery, I think it's either search for 3, or it's like put both of them tapped, also for 3 mana. So strict upgrades, I think, both of those.
Apparently, Veteran Explorer.
Veteran Explorer, okay. Thank you. Yes, that is the 1-drop. But yeah, I think those are 2 cards that are better in this situation. Harrow only being worse if you were in a very, very counterspell heavy, meta, because the sacrificing a land is part of the cost.
Gross.
And it's like it's so mean too, because you're countering a ramp spell on turn 3. Like that's not good. You're just screwing over a player, but that does happen. Okay. Instance. This. I don't know what you are for. Oh, okay.
Protection, right?
It's for protection, but like, why do you? I would be worried if I need to hexproof Thrun. But this also hexproofs your auras, which we haven't seen yet, but I think is very clear will exist. I'm very happy we would ramp to where we need to very quickly. I'm concerned that I can't interact. Between the sorceries and the instants here, we have a single creature, removal.
I think this deck has decided it's going to tap out every single turn, and you guys are going to deal with it. I think that is the philosophy behind Thrun.
Well, maybe we'll see it in, enchantments or something. Because it's hard to deal with, but, what do you do if somebody slaps down, I don't know, Moat? You can't attack. You're like, oh. Okay, shuffle them up. I
guess you have, a Boseiju you're drawing to?
Maybe. Artifacts. This is pretty standard, I think. Blackblade. I also want to say there is some cool other equipment that cares specifically about your forest count. So you essentially have a second copy of Blackblade Reforged. It's probably Nissa's Beat Stick or something. Yeah.
This is what?
Beat Stick. That as a noun.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
It definitely exists. It's Wand of something, which also does not help. Well, Staff of Titania. Yes, thank you. Thank you all for knowing the names of the cards that are in my head. There's this Trailblazers boots here, which I understand the purpose of, does the job, but we have the Enchantress package. So I feel like there are also a bunch of enchantments that do this thing that I would rather have since they draw me cards.
In green?
Yes.
I can't think of a green enchantment that gives unblockable.
I can't either, but I feel like they exist.
Okay.
I want to say there's one that gives I don't know what the name of this effect is, but it's cannot be blocked except by creatures with reach.
So flying, something that gives flying.
But it's a green. There was a period of time where they were making this effect for green that was can't be blocked except by creatures with reach, but specifically not flying.
So it can be blocked by reachers, but not flyers.
Yes.
Okay.
Or it might have been both.
Okay.
But it was like specifically, this does not have flying. It's just that it has like flying on attack or something. And it was a green ability.
Okay.
Did not stick around long enough to even get a keyword. Was a thing. I would bet that there is an enchantment that grants it. And now, here are our 31 enchantments. So, the Enchantress package is certainly okay to be in this deck. Yeah, Audacity and Rancor. If anything, maybe a little redundant. Like, Rancor is fine because it always comes back, but...
Apparently Canopy Cover is the effect.
Canopy Cover. Canopy Black. Yeah, look at that!
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why?
Like I said, it was like a period of time they were like, this for green, right?
Dodges plummet.
Yeah. Yes. I'll go back to this too. Like, it's a nice to have a secondary version of this, but Thrun is also really good at just like tanking whatever is blocking it. Like, I'm not as worried about giving it unblockable. Yeah, we're seeing even more ramp here. I think there's a second functional reprint of Sixth Sense that you could put in this, especially since you're looking at card draw. It is called Keen Sense. It is right here. Good job. There it is. Okay, and then I assume there's, Snake Umbra for the third copy of that effect. Okay. Yeah, end Season of Growth.
Season of Growth, does it draw or scry?
It draws when you target, so all of the auras are going to trigger that. Okay. Yeah.
Shaper Sanctuary for when your opponents touch your stuff.
Shaper Sanctuary.
I don't think it's in here. It would be a 1-drop if it is.
Oh yeah, to draw a card.
Yeah,
I like that because that's such a low commitment. And it's an enchantment, so that also draws you cards from your enchantresses. I don't know why the Court of Bounty is in here, because I don't think we had a lot of big hits for this.
This feels like I can't get the deck to draw enough cards. I'm going to put literal any green effect that draws cards I can find.
But I also don't think you can stop yourself from losing the Monarch, because Thrun taps. So you don't have him to block. Even if you have him to block, it is a single blocker, and then you're not doing the thing you want to do with Thrun, which is swing. And even I would swap this for something. Cool. And then we get to the lands. This is a monocolored deck, and it is green. And I still think that 30 lands is too few.
Okay, how many would be enough?
32 would be my lowest. But because like, okay, so here's how we justify this, because Karoni wants to increase the amount of card draw that's in this, and this is like little bits of card draw here and there from your enchantments if you have an enchantress on the field. Otherwise, it does not feel like this draws cards very well. If you put in Return of the Wild Speaker, Rishkar's Expertise, secret third option...
Oh, Garrick's Uprising would be great, right?
Yeah, our creature count's a little low for that, but
it is an enchantment.
It is an enchantment, and it cares about power 4, right?
Power, I think. Yeah.
Power 4. So Thrun triggers it. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would consider it, but like your trample is redundant, and you aren't drawing that many cards off of it. But it helps your other stuff get through too, because you are running like Zapandrel and the unnatural growth. Yikes!
It's gonna be a long
yeah.
day.
So I think that's reasonable if you're also trying to get through with those creatures. Yes. Give me all of the effects that are like draw cards equal to the greatest power that you have, because you are guaranteed to at least have 5 from Thrun plus all of the boosts that you've added to it. This gives you a big lump of cards. So you will always have stuff to spend your mana on.
Is Soul's Majesty the mystery third card?
Soul's Majesty is the mystery third option. Yes. Also, I think there's a different Garruk that's like 5 mana that also has that ability built into it as its minus. That is just draw equal to your greatest power. So I would swap that out for this Garruk. And that I think helps, because you only need to dig to one of those spells, and you're like, great, I will draw 10. I would put those in, and I would up the land count by just a little bit. And I think you are feeling real good about this.
Okay. So, what are your parting thoughts for the deck?
My parting thoughts for the deck are: this is Thrun. I think it does what it wants to do really well. This seems very streamlined to be like, ramp, drop Thrun, pump Thrun, kill. I would just want a little bit more interaction, some ways to deal with threats that I had not anticipated. There are not a lot of things that can deal with Thrun, but it's not impossible.
Feels like Beast Within has to be
right
in every green deck, right? I don't think it was.
It's not. I'd be running that and some other stuff, because this is also not indestructible on other players' turns, so it can just be board wiped. So I would want some sort of insurance from that too. Like, might as well put a Heroic Intervention in here, because it also saves the rest of your stuff.
Yeah, but that is an expensive card. I can understand not putting that one in.
It's dropped. It's like $12.
Okay, I mean that's still expensive.
He said not having looked at the price of it for like a while. Wait. These are our lists, right?
Yeah.
There's not a K in Heroic. Heroic Intervention is $15.
That's so like on the cusp of pretty expensive.
Fair. I think. Yeah, I would want to be able to interact with my opponents in some way, especially to remove things that are stopping me from attacking or something like that. And then like the handful of mass draw spells, I think fixes the problem in general, because you have a lot of that incidental draw that's going to get you to those spells, and that, a draw 10 fixes a game.
I'll suggest one more very expensive card, but you could put a Besage You in the mana base.
Yeah.
For basically 0 cost, except the $45 that you have to pay to get a copy of Besage You.
Yes. And MH3 Flippy Land. Bridgeworks Battle, I think.
Sure.
That's because you can just swap a land out for that, or just put it in, and we'll count that as 31. And that gives you at least a kill a creature if they've played creature that doesn't let you attack. I just noticed this. I don't know if this was misread or if it is just like, I don't know, the art's cool or something. This is not +1 for each basic land you control. This is +1 for each basic land type among lands you control. So this very much does not help you in this deck. So swap this out for Bridgeworks Battle.
Some templating issue there with basic land type being cut off from
right.
one line to the other.
Yeah.
All right. So final evaluation.
Deck does what it wants to do. Seems well built. I would just want those card draw spells and interaction. This is mono green, and it is very much not the kind of deck that I play. So on the veggie scale, this really only gets like a 4, but that is simply because this is not the kind of Magic that I look to play.
I think 106 is too many cards for a commander deck. I think we should probably cut
that
down a bit.
New meta.
Okay. The next one's a biggie.
Breya Ethereum Shaper from BigDaddyMagic.
The Bitcoin miner herself.
Breya. Everybody has faced a Breya deck at some point, I feel like. This card does everything. Except be green. 4 mana, non-green, 4/4. Enters, make 2 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. And then pay 2, sack 2 artifacts, do whatever you want. 3 damage to a player or planeswalker, -4 to a creature, gain 5 life. So there are a million different ways that you can approach the deck building for this commander. But BigDaddyMagic has taken an aristocrat style. You are getting max value out of these little 1/1 blue Thopter tokens, and then looking to set up either some win the game combos or just slowly draining out the table with that aristocrat strategy.
Yeah, it seems like he took Breya and wanted to and said, what if I want to get everything I can out of artifacts?
Yeah.
And what if I get everything I can out of little shitters dying? And what if I can make some infinite combos doing those things and drain people out that way?
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Yeah, there is an extensive primer that they wrote for the deck somewhere. Here it is.
You can't see Twitch now.
You're so needy.
Can't see YouTube now. Oh, it's down there. Okay. So this base of creatures is relatively cheap. We're only getting like with 3 creatures total that cost more than 4. Interesting that for an aristocrat's deck, I'm only seeing 1 of your like most standard aristocrat payoff creatures. Because there's the Cruel Celebrant. Stuff dies, you get the lose 1, you gain.
Yep.
But no Blood Artist, no Zulaport Cutthroat, no Marionette Master.
Yeah, that is
no Marionette Apprentice.
You do have Mirkwood Bats.
But you do have Mirkwood Bats. So that tells me that this is more of a, you're setting up, and I believe this is also what BigDaddyMagic said in the primer, that this is not like, okay, we're NerdGirl styling, like I'm gonna ping you for 1 like for 40 turns, and I will just win. This is like build the board, find your piece, boom, 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 boom.
more my style of deck, kill you out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have the cute also option to blink Breya to continue to make Thopters. And a lot of these other creatures have reasonable ETBs.
Yeah, I've seen this deck, like the physical copy of this deck in person, and it is not just foil in Moxfield. Everything's foiled out in real life too.
Oh yeah. That the number down here reflects the specific cards
and the 105 sideboard cards.
I guess, yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, it is counting the sideboard, of which there are 105 cards. So this is really like twice the amount. Always love Azurda. This reduces Breya's sacrifice ability to 1. We see it can reduce like the Eldrazi Displacer ability to 1. You can reduce no, because it's already at 1. Yeah, there's a couple other things here, like the Wisp Drinker Vampire ability.
Is there specifically creatures activated abilities, or
it is all?
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I like it so much, because you can do other weird things with it. Let's see if there's anything else. The Glaze Fiend is a very interesting inclusion. Again, points to the general game plan that BigDaddyMagic has here of like set up and then boom, try to take out somebody in one shot.
Yeah, and especially when you combine that with the Thopter Engineer, the one that gives everything haste.
Yeah, because you can drop the Glaze Fiend and pump it a bunch all in one shot. Yeah, that's a good point. Looking for something that I would critique here. I mean, actually, honestly, the thing I would critique would be the Thopter Engineer. I think this card is a little weak for the mana that you have to spend for it. Like, giving your artifact creatures haste is good, but I feel like you can I don't know that this deck particularly wants to be winning with a big hasty swing outside of what we just mentioned. I don't know. That's a lot of mana for me to spend on a 1/1 and a 1/3, and then a deck that is generally not taking advantage of the haste until later.
I agree with that.
A single sorcery. We're not here to play at sorcery speed. 1 Imp Seal.
I guess if you treat the deck as always having a crap load of Thopters in play, then it is never a bad draw. Anyway.
Yeah. Instance. Okay. I think I would be very tempted to load a deck like this up with interaction because you have access to so many colors. But like it makes good work of what it's got here.
Yeah, not a bad card in the bunch. Well,
you're
not a huge fan of Vanish into Eternity.
I think this is... Here's the struggle I have with this. My gut says that this is weak. But I'm not having a lot of things instantly come to mind that are good replacements for it.
Yeah, if you want, it's kind of like the cancel of Exile permanent, where murder is the cancel of Doomblade. You can get 2 mana effects that are cheaper and exile some specific class of permanents. You could have Despark, Vanishing Verse, that kind of thing. But to get something that hits everything, I'm not sure you're going to find something for less than 3 mana.
Yeah. I'm generally in the camp of play something a little more specific if it's costed lower. Like, I don't need it to hit everything. I just need it to hit most everything. So I would prefer something like Despark or Vanishing Verse here.
Yeah, the constructed player in me says think of the class of things that cause problems for you and tailor your removal to that, and just say you don't care about anything else.
Yeah, I don't want to have to hold 3 mana up.
Apparently, there's some new white instant from Bloomborough with Path without the gift and Flicker for some mean permanents in the deck.
Yes, there is. I don't remember what that card is called, but yes, it's 2 white mana instant. Exile a permanent, and if you did not gift a card, it then just comes back.
Sure,
but
and if you did,
if you did, it just stays exiled.
Oh, sure, okay.
Is it really called Parting Gust?
What kind of gust?
Yeah, I'll play Crop Dust.
Okay, so that's one upgrade.
Yes, I like that. That's it. We get to kind of cheat and be like, well, I can't believe you wouldn't put this brand new card that hasn't come out in. We knew about this card. Yeah. Artifacts. Dispatch is also a good point from the chat.
Cranial Plating is one that gets a lot of mentions in the primer. Just buffing creatures and getting them in for early chip damage, I think.
Yeah, that's an absurd amount of damage.
And it's something that it's in a non-equip ability. So you can do it in combat after blocks have been declared if you want to really hit someone.
Right, yeah. I wonder if this got any play when it was out originally. Seems like a pretty good card. Yeah, this card is messed up. I wonder if it's worth running the new copy of this, Cranial Ram, from MH3. The card's banned already, but you can run it in Commander.
What does that card do?
It is a red and a black artifact equipment living weapon, but it buffs the equipped creature +1/+0 for each artifact you control.
Okay, but no instant speed equip.
No instant speed equip, but I feel like if this is worth it, then that's worth considering.
Sure.
Some nice value out of stuff that you can sacrifice. We have the Thopter Foundry Sword of the Meek combo here. Where,
for those who don't know, what is that?
I didn't want to have to explain it. Because I haven't thought about it for a while. Let's see. Okay, so you have a 1/1. You have Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek out. You sacrifice Sword of the Meek to Thopter Foundry to make a 1/1 Thopter.
Okay.
But Sword of the Meek sees a 1/1 enter, so it returns itself from the battlefield attached to the 1/1. And then you sacrifice the Sword of the Meek to Thopter Foundry.
Got it.
So even just these two cards together, nothing else, it reads pay 1 colorless mana, make a 1/1, and gain a life.
Sure.
But you are also triggering any ETBs or sacrifice triggers, and if you can find a way to convert that into mana, or if I'm sure, you can Ashnod's Altar to sacrifice then the 1/1. That is infinite mana. We're not KCIing, but that is a pricey uncommon. But yes, these three here is infinite mana and a bunch and infinite triggers.
Sure. So you got to be able to win the game with that.
Right. Unwinding Clock. How much value do you get out of this card? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 rocks.
Oh, I don't think it's being used for mana. I think it's being used to deploy the Thopters aggressively. Like, you make a big board of Thopters, swing in, and then they untap to defend you.
That makes sense. I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't know. I would much rather it be used for mana. But I guess it does also reset, like, super busted Master Transmuter. Resets Joyra. I would want a bigger payoff out of it, especially considering we don't even have, like, normally this is paired with mana rocks that produce a bunch of mana.
Sure.
We don't have that. So maybe I am too narrow in my thinking of, like, that's what this card is for. But I feel like it's an easy add to include this as well if you are running this. Okay. Efficient construction. This is cool. I feel like this is a card that seems like it should be played a lot more. Cast an artifact spell, make a Thopter.
Yeah. The price is right, too.
Yeah, I just don't see this get played. So this, I think, is a nice find from BigDaddyMagic.
Maybe Sidemaster Thopterus takes its place a lot of the time, because it's the same effect on a body for 3 mana.
Yes, but redundancy, good, especially in the decks that want to be doing that thing.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah. There we go, everybody watching that's running this kind of deck. Efficient construction. Something, hashtag MTG Finance. Get it quick.
Yeah, everyone who missed the boat when we were talking about how great Shuko was a few months ago.
Oh, yeah. We were just saying it's generically good. Nadi wasn't even out.
Yeah.
And it's like, can't believe people aren't playing this. Yeah, Dictate of Erebos, super mean.
Frogfather's asking, what are your thoughts on Whirler Virtuoso in the deck?
Whirler Virtuoso, that is a card that I need to remember. That is the 4 mana creature, ETB, make 2 Thopters, tap 2 artifacts, make something unblockable?
I remember the make 2 Thopters part. I don't remember anything that came after.
I am pretty sure that is what that card is. I think it is... I think it would be in the same camp for me as Thopter Engineer. Sure, it has a thing that is a thing that makes Thopters and unblockable. Can't be bad, right? But this deck doesn't really care about it. Like, you're not trying to push through a few big creatures, and the creatures you are trying to push through have evasion already. So I don't think I would run it, but it is a fun card because of the political aspect of it, since you can target any creature to make it unblockable. So I think that would be the only reason I would be running it here. Okay. And we have Kindred Discovery on Thopter. Thopter ETB, draw a card. Woo! That would make me very happy.
I wonder how often Big Daddy decks. Because it's not a May.
It's not a May, but it's very hard to deck in a deck that also can just fish out a win the game combo.
True.
Yeah.
I guess if it's in play, though, when you're making your Thopters as part of the infinite combo.
Yeah, you have a way to get rid of this if you're like, oh no! What have I done? Is it like an Otawara or something?
That's what it would take, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the land mana base here, because you have to definitely get creative with your 4 mana, no green mana base. We did see some decent fixing with the suite of talismans.
It's weird, therefore, to see like some colorless utility lands. Like Wasteland is kind of an expensive card from a deck building point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm wondering what lands you are concerned about enough to be running this.
Field of the Dead. Only I make tons of tokens.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be scared if there were more of these, but all right, so our utility that makes no mana. We have Wasteland, we have Emergent Zone, we have Academy Ruins. I don't think we have Inventor's Fair. I think for sure you have to have Inventor's Fair here. A land that tutors whatever artifact you want.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And it can find the artifact lands.
Yeah. Emergent Zone, I support this. 4. I think the Wasteland is cuttable to replace with colored pips, but we also know that this is a deck that's been tested pretty heavily. So I'll trust it. But I think if it was me building this deck without any playtesting, I would be swapping this for a color, something that produces colors. And I'm trying to think if there's one off the top of my head that produces everything you want.
I feel like if we're to the point where we want mana confluence in the mana base, then we're probably at the point where we shouldn't be playing Wasteland without an excellent reason. But if it works, it works.
Yeah. It also could be meta call. You know, somebody's son, the one person that is in love with Glacial Chasm or whatever. Okay, cool. So that is the deck. This thing is pretty tight. Like, I can understand the choices for almost everything here, and I don't think there's a lot of room to budge without either saying I want this to move from the power level it is to significantly higher or significantly lower.
Yeah, I feel like I want decks, when I'm playing them, to let me scale with who I'm playing with.
Mm-hmm.
There's no taking it easy with this deck, right? Like, almost every card you play significantly advances your game plan, and it's hard to slow down and let, like, a beginner, have their fun.
Mm-hmm. You just sideboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that is like everything that has been tested or is in testing, but
or not foiled yet.
Yeah. Yes. So I think me going through, I am not as up on like Thopter Engineer. Does this reduce to? It does not reduce to less than 1, but it does reduce Breya. Okay.
The episode where we played this deck, it is out already, right?
No.
No?
Was this with the nerds?
Yes.
It is not out? I don't know. I don't remember. Which one did we put out?
I don't remember. Hey, you guys, you know what episodes we've released better than we have. Has this deck appeared on the channel yet? The only reason I bring it up is because if it is out, then definitely go check it out. And if it's not, stay tuned.
Yes.
Because this deck was played and performed.
Yes. Has or will appeared on the show and was a good time. I was sad that I did not get to play it because this is like super in my wheelhouse. Like, you have a lot of really intricate interactions and so many different triggers to keep track of, so many different lines. Like,
it's a really complicated deck to play.
It is a very complicated deck to play, but I feel like your standard commander content creator would be able to handle something like this.
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, looks like it hasn't come out yet, so stay tuned for that. The episode's great. All right, so any parting thoughts for the deck?
Parting thoughts for the deck. I would want to know what the play group or the intended power level for this deck is. I think it's very well constructed. The best that I can do really would be nitpick at some individual cards. but it sits in a like kind of high power but not quite high power, because you're not, this is also not running like fast mana. This seems like a deck where I would see like Mana Crypt, and I guess you probably don't want Jeweled Lotus in this, but like Chrome Mox and things like that. But it's not, which I think that is a fine choice. But it is doing so much. I want to know what is keeping it from there. Yes, like what is, I want to know what the specific intended like play experience for this is.
Because I think to some extent, if you're foiling out the entire deck, all the cards are special to you in some way.
Yeah.
So there's a certain, quality to the cards that we can't talk about on stream, but they might make it special to Big Daddy for some reason.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I mean, what does a foil Mana Crypt go for? It can't be that much.
Thrifty PS Gamer, thank you for being one of the good time boys. We appreciate it.
he's stealing that.
Well, he called us the good time boys.
Oh.
They called us the good time boys.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Yeah. And I am, and as one of those, that's very important, that I am one of the good time boys.
Occasionally.
This is important to note. Okay. Also, I think that overall, I would rate this deck, for me, this is, I'm gonna give it 2 ratings, because it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Because this is, I love this kind of deck. I love decks that have all of these very intricate moving pieces and a lot of different ways that it can play out and still be very, very strong. But I think for the current me, I would not have a lot of people that I could play this deck with. That being my only struggle, because this is not a CEDH deck, but it is a good step above the usual game experience that I am playing. So, I don't know what that number is, but I would give this a 10 on the deck building and me likey card.
Makes sense to me.
And now we will offer you an egg in these trying times.
And now for something completely different.
This is Titanium Texan's Atla Palani list. I believe that his only note to us was, I pulled some cool dinosaurs, so I made Atla Palani.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. This commander, super popular, one of the more popular commanders of all time. 4 mana, 2/3. You pay 2 and tap it, make a 0/1 egg with Defender. I wonder why the Defender was important to that.
Well, so you can't trigger Winota with it.
Oh yeah, of course. You know what? I guess it makes sense, because then it eliminates the possibility of the weird, like, oh, all right, my deck puts a bunch of like counters or things on my eggs and then just starts swinging them at you, and you feel really bad having to deal with them, or you just get hit by a million eggs. Anyway, the important ability on Atla Palani is whenever an egg you control dies, you reveal from the top until you hit a creature. Period. And you put that on the battlefield. Free.
Okay. So what are we looking to hit?
Whatever's big. This is also one of the reasons that this deck is so popular, or this commander is so popular, is because big creature is the only requirement. And it's not even really a requirement. It is just like that's it is good at putting out surprise big creature. And dinosaurs are good surprise big creature.
Yes, I was trying to use that as a segue. What specifically are we trying to hit? But, yeah.
Yeah, the cards here.
Which ones?
When we're not trying to hit Dinosaur Egg.
That would be hilarious.
Yes. this is like such an ideal card for the deck, though. There are very few small creatures, which makes sense for the deck building, but like is kind of a struggle of the deck building because it means that your early plays you don't want to have creatures in, and a lot of the creatures like your mana dorks and things like that would make this deck better as long as you can guarantee that you're playing them before Atla Palani, but you can't.
Oh, I just realized the eggs have 1 toughness, right?
Yes.
And Raptor pings them when they ATB.
Sure does.
Yeah. Okay, that's a combo.
Yeah, that's very cute.
I thought it was there just as a generically good dinosaur, but no, that's some upside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's the kind of card choice that I love, where it's like this is good because it ramps, quote quote. It is a dinosaur, so we're on flavor theme, and then it has this very cute interaction with your commander. All right, so I want to bet that Huatli is here for it is a cool card that I pulled, because I would feel so cheated hitting this off of an egg trigger.
Yeah, that is an underwhelming hit for sure. Yeah. What does the backside do?
Make 2 dinos. Creatures can tap for mana. Search for a dino. Dinos gain double strike and trample.
On chapter 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This seems like a meta choice. I feel like this was probably not a... Ooh! I cracked open a pack of M19. A fresh pack of M19. I pulled this really cool Stegosaurus. We're gonna play that. Somebody's doing something mean with activated abilities, so... Okay.
Roaming Throne, because of course.
Yeah. Although I would be conflicted here. Do you name your commander creature type, human or shaman, to get the extra egg trigger, or do you name Dino?
Well, yeah, you name Dino, right? Because if you get 2 triggers, all you get is an extra egg. But if you name Dino, the egg goes off twice.
No. You're not. If you name human or shaman, when an egg dies, is this just ETBs? Am I?
Oh, the egg isn't itself a dino.
Okay, right,
yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Because you get 2 creatures per egg.
Sure.
For human or shaman, but also you have like all of these dinos. Okay. Dino. Yeah, classic dinosaur Terror of the Peaks.
Honorary.
Very honorary. Okay, since you all know all the cards, there was a Jurassic Park dinosaur, I think it is Boros, that can like steal your opponent's creatures and then like throw them at them. That seems like it would be really cool here.
Swooping Pterodon has been called.
Oh my god, so fast. Yes, that is the card I'm thinking of. Swooping.
No, Pteranodon.
Pteranodon.
Oh, sorry. No points.
Alright. Another dino with flying enters the battlefield. Gain control of target creature and opponent controls. Untap, gains flying, haste, and then target land deals 3 damage to that creature. That's very funny. I was thinking it was not so specific. This is probably not good here, but cool card. This is like the kind of thing I want to be a commander. It is so very specific, so it like just does not go in a lot of dinosaur decks. But I don't know. That's it. Those are my thoughts. Okay,
you could rule 0 that.
Yeah. Yeah. This, I mean, like, makes sense. This is pile of dinosaurs that are all cool that don't have like super hardcore synergy.
I feel like there's probably a bunch of ways to just draw the game with Polyraptor. Like when Polyraptor and Marauding Raptor just goes off infinitely, right?
Yes. Yes, unless you can instant speed kill one.
So if you discover or cascade into a Polyraptor with the Marauding Raptor in play, then the game just ends in a draw.
Oops. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Let's take a look and see if there are any ways to stop that from happening. You could like, yeah, you could path or sword your own.
Yep.
Before the trigger resolves. Yeah, Beast Within stuff. Yes. Okay. So now we've mentioned that you don't want to play cheap creatures. So I would want my sorceries to make up for the ramp difference. We have Farseek, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, and then Explosive Vegetation ×2. I don't want to be ramping on turn 4. That feels bad to me, unless that ramp does something else that's beneficial. I would want my classics in here. Give me Rampant Growth, give me Nature's Lore, give me 3 visits, give me something else. But I would really want... Yeah, Cultivate's in there.
I thought you were just listing generic cards.
Oh, yeah. I would really want that lack of mana dorks to be made up for by my ramp in sorceries, and I don't feel like that's quite where this is at.
I feel like Star of Extinction should be in there. Flavor reasons.
Yes.
Oh, we were looking at the deck earlier, and Wrath of God had a very serious downside, like a non-bow with another card in the deck, right?
Yes. Destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated. Got it. You had mentioned that like Cool wipes all your eggs, so everything's gone, and you're the only one left with creatures. But if you're running this card, which I think was a very cool deep dive find, Fanatical Devotion, you sack a creature to regenerate another creature, might as well replace your can't be regenerated board wipe with something. Switch this out, at least with like Day of Judgment.
Maybe it's good in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But that is a very good point. The board wipes are pretty good here because you are left with a board, but that's a tiny little change that you can make to make like some game you're gonna get that and it's gonna feel incredible. You're like, oh, regenerate all my stuff. Day of Judgment, destroy all my eggs, everybody's dead. Natural Order is a very strong card, but don't forget, there's now Dino Natural Order. Whatever the name of that card is. Savage Order? Savage Order? It was also a Jurassic Park card, but it is essentially the same thing, but it only fetches specifically a dinosaur, but I think it gives it indestructible. Yes, it does give it indestructible because it combos with a bunch of stuff that fight on ETB, but yes, that would be a cool include that is within the dino theme. Sundering Growth, are we populating? Did we have
eggs?
Eggs, okay. Yeah, more populate. Yeah. I wonder what the Vines of Vastwood is for. Just like need a protection spell. This will do the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think I would prefer like Tamiyo's safekeeping, but that will work, and like sometimes you just need 4 damage.
Skull Clamp, great with the eggs. Love it.
Yeah. So much value. Thornbite Staff. This is a good time.
Okay.
So, what you do is...
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, Go ahead.
Thornbite Staff play Atla Palani, which is a shaman, so it automatically attaches. You have an egg die, or you make an egg. The egg dies. You get the trigger, but because something is put into the graveyard from play, you untap Atla Palani to then make another egg.
And you keep doing that as long as you have the mana to activate the staff.
Right. Conveniently, this card right next to it fills exactly that role. Sacrifice your egg to make 2 mana. Atla Palani untaps. You use that 2 mana to activate Atla Palani.
Yep. That's cute. I love that.
Yes. Okay. Yes, more ways to sacrifice eggs. Or if you don't feel like going through all of that, you just slam your dinos into play for 2 mana. I guess also this, in artifacts, you could make up for your lack of creature ramp. But so that I feel like is missed a little bit. Just give me the suite of talismans or signets, I'd be happy. Enchantments, we do have a little bit of ramp here. More sack outlets.
I do in general like ramp that survives wraths when you're playing a creature deck, so you're not totally screwed when you try to rebuild.
True. The penance, very cute. I am this is a deep dive card, but I was already aware of it because I was running this in Yannette before I couldn't play that deck anymore because somebody else on the show liked the deck more.
Sorry. My bad.
This card does not need to target, so you can just activate it at will whenever you feel like it. Which, so if one of your eggs dies, in response you can say, "Oh, that's funny. I have this Gishath in my hand. I'm gonna put that on top. Great. Let's see what the next creature spell that I flip off the top of my deck is."
It stops black and red.
Stops black and red, so it's also very relevant.
So it doesn't stop the Polyraptor combo, though.
Doesn't.
Unfortunately.
No, it does. Because
the Marauding Raptor is what's doing it.
Aha!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Doubling Season, I feel like this is overkill. Or underkill. It's just kill. Because I don't know that I want to spend 5 mana to only be doubling my eggs that I make after that.
Yeah, I feel like once you reach the point where you're casting this, you probably already have something better in play.
Right. Or you could just replace it with Anointed Procession or green Anointed Procession. It's not Primal Vigor because that's the double one. Whatever.
Just waiting for chat to figure it out.
Parallel Lives.
There is a card called Parallel Lives. I don't know what it does, but
Parallel Lives.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you had pointed out Annie joins up while we were looking over this. This is one of those this is such a such a commander card.
Yeah.
You play it because it makes you feel good inside.
This was my best rare at that pre-release. I did not do well.
I got clapped by this card at that same pre-release because somebody had Wily, the when it becomes tapped, draw a card, gain a life. And
that's the Vigilant one.
And yeah. Roxanne.
Oh.
So in that case, it was real good for them.
Yep.
But yes, this is a fun time. Doubles your Atla Palani triggers, and you have a bunch of dinos that do the thing. I actually like this better than a lot of Panharmonicon effects because usually those are win more. You're spending 4 mana for a thing that does not really for a thing that does not affect the board. This one at least does that because you're dealing 5 damage to something.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then we have too few lands. 31 is not enough. One of these days I'm gonna make a video. I'm sure it's been done like a million times already, but I'm gonna make a video about the math of why you don't run this few lands.
I'm just looking at the extraordinarily ambitious Reliquary Tower in the mana base.
Yeah. What gets us there?
Like, not much, I gotta say. There's like Garrett's Uprising. Skull Clamp, sure, yeah. Because you want to make sure that when you're cascading your dinosaurs into play, you also get to draw a card off.
Right. Yeah. It's a 3-color deck. I would probably want a thing that makes those 3 colors. But also, I think this seems to be more of a cards that I had mana base, and that is also fine. Because like there's an Arid Mesa here, but there's also some tap lands. So I would just say, yeah, maybe swap some of these out for some more tap lands. I'd just rather be able to hit double green or triple green if I need it, or Annie joins up mana.
Yep.
So yeah, tap lands are not bad. Tap lands are not bad. You just don't want all of your stuff to be tap lands.
Yeah, you don't want too many MDFCs either as lands, because usually you don't want to cascade. In this particular deck is what I'm saying, because you can cascade into the front of them. You don't want to hit like a Tangled Florahedron.
Oh, okay. Something. Yeah. You could put Disciple of Fraelis in here. That seems like a good. That seems like a good MDFC for this. It's ETB, sacrifice a creature, so for super big value.
Turn Timber Symbiosis also.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think this is a pile of cards that came together pretty decently, considering I wanted to play my cool dinos that I opened.
Also, all of these cards were just there when you started digging around boxes. That's kind of incredible.
Yeah, cool. I think my adjustments to this that are like more low key adjustments are just give me ramp in your, give me some rocks in the artifacts, or a couple more ramp spells and sorceries to make it more consistent. Like, that's never gonna hurt you in a deck that is playing this stuff. And do the cute little swap of don't Nambo yourself on Wrath of God and Fanatical Devotion.
Yeah.
And maybe a few more lands. Definitely a few more lands, but that's it.
Yeah, overall, pretty surprised how well the deck came out, given what we were told about it.
Mm-hmm. Weirdly, dinos, not my thing. I guess it's just, I don't know.
Why would dinos be your thing? Like, why is it weird that it's not?
Because they seem more involved in, like, a mono green kind of thing. Maybe it's because the card pool is, like, still pretty small compared to any of the other, like, creatures. Like, if you think about the main creature types.
We didn't get a lot from Ixalan, did we?
No. Yeah, like, the commander playable dino pool is just smaller, so I guess it feels like I don't have as much room to do cute stuff. Cool. It's hard for me to rate the deck building for this as much, but I would give this a solid 7. Surprised me, and even though it is not my style, cool.
All right.
Now we're getting into my style.
Yeah, speaking of deck building restrictions.
This is Omnath, Locus of All. And I was saying to Airball before we started this that if I had the time and the energy to do it, I would have like 5 of these decks, because I think this is a very fun way to have to approach your deck building. Omnath, Locus of All is a 4/4 for 5 mana, but the black mana is Phyrexian, so you can just pay 2 life. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana just becomes black instead. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You reveal it if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in its mana cost. And if you do, you add 3 mana in any combination of those colors and put it into your hand. No matter what, you put it into your hand. So you are trying to get as many cards that have at least 3 pips on them as possible, so that when you reveal, you make a bunch of mana and you draw.
Yeah.
Because like just think about the numbers here for this commander. Regardless, you played on turn 4. Optimistically, you played on turn 3 because you've ramped on turn 2. So let's say you've built your mana base well. You ramp on 2. You play this on turn 3. On turn 4, you flip something that activates the trigger. You have the 4 mana. Now 5 mana that is available to you from lands and ramp, plus 3 more.
So you get a 6 mana 3-pip spell, basically.
8.
8. Yep.
You can play something for 8 consistently on turn on turn 4.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
What are our hits?
All of these cards except 2 of them, it looks like. We should note this ahead of time, because I think our Moxfield transfer has made this a little weird and didn't transfer that. This is Gigantha Companion.
Oh yeah, no, I guess it technically is in the sideboard.
It shows when you set it as your companion in Moxfield, it puts it in the sideboard, but also shows you that it is a companion, like right up here next to the commander. But I think in the copy process, it doesn't sure. Keep that. Invasion Alara, cool. We're playing 5 colors, might as well. It's got certainly at least 3 pips. I wonder if this has any sort of synergy at all with what we're trying to do.
Probably just fun of.
Yeah. Card is cool. Okay. Creatures. We have 2 creatures that do not hit our Omnath requirements, but I think that's probably worth it, especially for Bloom Tender, because we know we're playing a lot of multicolored permanents. It's worth it for those few moments where you flip Bloom Tender versus the times where you're playing this early and making a ton more mana. I am not as sure about Delighted Halfling, but we do see that generally this is a lot of legendary creatures. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe I want to say that Birds is just better than Delighted Halfling in that spot. If you were going to run that 1-drop at all.
Yeah, it depends how worried you are about counterspells, because almost everything in the deck is legendary.
I mean, creature-wise, sure, but Birds casts your suite of other spells, but it is a lot of creatures. And now we look at the creature soup here. I think I don't see a lot of like synergy between the 3-drops, but I think that is just simply because there are not a lot of 3-drops that you have that are 3 colored pips that are also legendary, which seems to be more of a theme here.
Yeah, Rafine has never been less happy in a deck, right? You usually want a couple creatures in play the turn she comes down. Mm-hmm. Not going to happen here.
Yeah. You get 1 trigger off for swinging Omnath.
Yep.
Yeah, and like Ever-Changing Dane, like I don't. This is a card that has eluded me forever. I'm like I am stumped as to what to do with this. But you know what? It's 3 mana. It has 3 pips. Great. Aragorn loves to be in this deck because you know all of your spells are a million colors. Yep. Joda, oddly enough, is only 3 color pips. But
that is weird.
Yeah.
You've got Omnath 4, of course.
Yes. With I think very little support, but the card is still generically powerful, right? Just a quick look through. We don't have ramp spells. I think we have not that many fetches either.
Do we have any? I didn't see any.
We have no fetches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 4/4 for 4 that hits off of Omnath 5 that draws a card and you will gain 4 life a turn.
Yep.
Which is still good. It's still good.
It's a good floor.
I don't know what this is. Creatures you control have haste. I've never seen this card before.
Sure.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, okay, so now we're seeing a little bit of the synergy, though, for the deck, because Shannon has a lot of things that are going to trigger the draw a card, lose a life, because all these are legendary. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and Kathis also reducing a lot of these spells. Less than usual, though, because you do have a lot of, like, colored pip only legends.
It's too bad you can't do the Kethis combo because you need the 2 Mox Amber to do it.
Yeah. I don't think there's a way to... Anyway. Yeah, this just seems kind of like pool of generically good cards that seem like a good time. It's not a lot of like super deep complex synergies. You just let her rip and see what you get.
Do we have a representation for each triple?
Oh, good question. There's 10?
Yep, because there's 10 2s, so there's 10 3s.
Okay. How are we gonna track this?
Not well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No, those 2 are the same.
5. Okay. 5. Arkelos is 6.
Cass is another
7.
Jund is 8.
8.
Abzan? No, we have an Abzan already.
Abzan already.
Sultai is a
8,
new one.
9. What are we missing?
Naya.
Yeah. Yeah, okay,
All
cool.
10 are here. Yep.
Yeah. I think it's just pile of cool cards. And I respect the like Omnath. There's not really any ways to fix the card you're grabbing from Omnath. So if that's not going to happen, every game is going to be different.
That's what you're looking for in a commander deck, right? Some variety.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of variety, here's a tutor. This one though, like if you've got a tutor that actually meets your requirements for Omnath, you gotta play that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably one of the only board wipes that does it. I think there are some like triple black board wipes that would work, but that is not terribly helpful for you.
Well, it kind of is, right? Because a lot of your mana gets channeled into black if you can't spend it.
That's true.
I haven't seen a whole lot of outlets for specifically black mana yet.
Yeah.
Or ways to transform it, like Manamorphose into colors you need.
Yeah. Okay, so we should keep an eye out for that to see if there are that might be a good aspect to improve. All of our instants are the charms, which are like the cards made for this commander. Love that. No changes except for don't forget there are the there's the dragon charms, the original charms. There was a cycle of dragons. I think Wraith is the one most people would think of. But yeah, they were the original 3-color charms.
So they weren't after the Lucky Charms.
They were. Actually, I wonder when was Lucky Charms made? I feel like it's got to be before.
Probably, yeah.
Before, but yeah. But Lucky Charms is 5 colors. So
is it? I think it's more.
They have a rainbow.
Yeah,
White rainbow is
right.
one of the because I think there's at least 1 or 2 of those charms that are pretty good. So I would look for those. Artifacts. It's hard to run any artifacts in this, right?
Relic of Legends is awesome though.
Relic of Legends is awesome, but you just, this is probably about as much as you want to run in this deck, because all of these are complete whiffs.
Yeah, and a lot of rocks will just produce colorless mana, right? Like Soul Ring is not actually helping you very much in this deck.
Right. And enchantments. So we have made 2 exceptions to our Omnath requirement here for Leyline Immersion, which I get it.
Yep.
Gives you all of your colors. And what is this card? War of the Last Alliance. Chapters 1 and 2, search for a legendary. Okay. And then Chapter 3, creatures gain double strike and ring temps.
Huh. I mean, it's just a 2 for 1.
Yes. And we've seen that this is like a big toolbox of different legendary creatures, so you have a lot of options. But I don't know. To me, I wouldn't say that this card is worth breaking the Omnath requirement. I would want something else. Oh. Here's the card that you swap it for. I think we saw this in one of the other decks already, but this was one of my first includes when I was thinking about building this deck. Congregation at Dawn. It is an instant for either 2 white and a green or 2 green and a white. So it qualifies for Omnath. Search for up to 3 creatures and put them on top of your library.
You said it was 2 green and a white?
Yeah.
That's... Oh, it's 3 pips that we care about.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Not 3 colors.
Right.
Got it.
But you cannot play that with Gigantha partner or companion because it's 2 of the same
That's
pip.
right.
If you were not in that card would be great, but never mind.
And I guess Gigantha Companion is one of those outlets for black mana, come to think of it. Putting it into your hand.
Yeah. But after seeing all the spells, we definitely could do with more outlets for that.
Yeah, you have some cycle land to use like generic mana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess the other approach would be you're just looking to burn that mana immediately. But that's hard to say that you can do that consistently.
It'd be nice if there was some fireball effect. Because you're gonna tap your mana at every end step.
Yeah.
And then
you can run Drain Life here? Cause yeah, I think you can run Drain Life. I think that is a single black pip. But I'm trying to think if there are any like cute.
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be some big black spell that just domes for a billion.
Right. But I'm looking. I want something that actually hits that is the requirements as well.
Oh, that is going to be tough.
That is tough. Because I was thinking like Death Cloud, but don't run Death Cloud because that's a mean card, and it's triple black, so you can't run that with Gigantha.
Is there some 3 mana thing that hits the requirements that transforms mana into, like it filters mana into some other color?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right.
But yeah. So that of course is the struggle, and the part I like about Omnath is you really have to dig deep for the cards that do the things that you want. So that may be just the reason why we're not seeing these, is because it's really hard to find something that satisfies what you want. Yes.
Yep, you can definitely spend it as generic too. If there's a good option for that, I'm all ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this land base seems like it gets the job done. Like, I would be very confident that I could make the colors that I wanted. But as we noted from before, you don't really lose anything if you are swapping some of these out for fetch lands. And you get a little bonus if you end up with Omnath Locus Creation on the board.
Yep, for sure.
Okay. Well, nice, Jimro. This makes me happy to get to go over an Omnath list.
It's always nice to have a bunch of deep cuts.
Yes. I think for me, this already gets high marks because I love the commander, and you did a good job of finding a lot of things that trigger that satisfy that requirement. I think the count of actual card choices in here that don't hit are 6, 7, 8. That's it. That's impressive.
Well, yeah, you go until you hit a non-land.
No, you just I'm not counting lands, but it's the top cards. So you can whiff on a land.
Sure. Okay, so you're still like 60-40 to hit.
Yeah. But there's not anything you can do about those choices. But maximizing your odds for everything else, like this is a good job committing to that. I would give this a an 8 out of 10 on the veggie scale. Some good choices, a good fun commander, really committed to the bit. I think the only things that would do it that would put it over the top for me would be then somehow managing to find a theme. I had the guts for like doing an all combat focused Omnath, which I was going to call a name that is very awkward to say, but it is a combination of combat and Omnath, and it did not work out the way I wanted it to.
I was going to say bring it Omnath.
Oh, all right, great. We'll go with that one instead. But that just makes the challenge that much harder. So 8 out of 10 for me. Cool.
Yeah, really fun deck. It's one that I would like to play. This is one we had the pleasure of playing against.
This is Ososhawkin's Nixilis Captive Kingpin budget list. Specifically had the challenge of making this list budget. Clocks in on Moxfield at 81.57, and I don't know if this is exactly the like versions of the cards that were used or anything like that, because it seems like a weird like number for a budget deck.
What seems like a weird number?
For it to be 81.50?
I mean, you can say budget as in like deliberately low cost.
Yeah.
As opposed to I had to get it under X amount.
True. Oh. All right. Well, here's as cheap as you can get it. So it's under 80. But okay. Nixilis, Captain Kingpin also I think is a really good choice for a budget deck because this can be incredibly powerful.
We have the author of the deck in the chat, and apparently it was a $69 budget. Nice.
There we go. Yes. Oh, you did tell me that. That's very funny. I will refrain from making a 69 budget inflation joke, but yeah, let's take a look at the commander. Nixilis, 4 mana for 4/3 flying and trample. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, you put a +1 counter on it, and you exile the top card of your library, which you can play until your next end step.
Very strong card, and desperately wants to combo off.
Yes. But how doable is that in budget? Okay, starting off with Planeswalkers, we have 2 that both trigger Nixilis consistently. We have this Nixilis, which was originally a commander precon face. You +2 and each opponent loses 1 life. That is 3 triggers.
Yeah, it does have that magic word each.
Yes. Yeah, so Nixilis hitting 3 different opponents is 3 triggers. I think this is worth the keep because it's Nixilis and the +2 does give you 3 triggers. Outside of this context, I think this card is very bad.
Yes.
And then we have Nixilis, who conveniently also triggers Nixilis, turning every single opponent's draw into another counter in exile.
Yeah, that one I'm keeping in.
Yes. Because then on top of that, it's repeatable removal.
Yep.
Great. Repeatable removal that then also gets you more triggers. They said this is also a Devil's sub-theme, which makes so much sense because Devils, I think, have always been pretty budget cards, and the thing that Devils do is deal 1 point of damage.
Yep.
So
that's exactly where I would have started.
Mm-hmm. We have Rakdos Cackler. Now, on theme, but you're faced with an interesting choice here because you have to specifically deal 1 damage. It does count combat damage.
Yep. So
do you unleash it to get the extra boost, but know that you're never going to be able to get a trigger off of this card, or
yeah, it doesn't have to be damage either. Loss of life is what does it. Yeah.
Yes. I like the Sawblade Scamp and Spear Spewer here. Both of those are 1 mana, and nearly every turn you will be able to get 3 triggers off of these. You of course need to continue to feed non-creature spells to the Scamp. Spear Spewer just does it. Your only downside being it hits you as well. Yeah, Epicure as well. Like I love finding these cards that are like 1 mana or to get 3 impulse draws. Incredible.
And like homeless otherwise.
Yes,
it's just an unremarkable card otherwise.
Right. That's like perfect budget. Yeah, we have Bloodseeker, gives you triggers whenever your opponents play creatures, non-creature spells that you play. So many little pings that give you big value. And you're trying to build without things like Blood Artist that are going to inflate your deck costs too much. One thing that surprised me, Mayhem Devil is a budget card. Like this is, I think the price listed here on Moxfield is significantly too high
for how long that card terrorized me. Yes,
I'm still pretty sure you can get this card for under $1. Okay, Mahadi. This is a card that is outside of the theme. How many things are we killing? Because this is specifically only on your end step. You're getting treasures for number of creatures that died.
Yeah, I was going to say you can ping down creatures with your existing triggers. But that doesn't get you anywhere.
You can't, though?
No, I mean, like, say you have a bunch of devils in play that you want to die.
Oh, yes.
Or, like, you cast Burn Down the House for the board wipe mode.
Mm-hmm.
But this has to be there after.
Right.
So I think this is pretty tricky to use.
Yeah. I guess I can justify this some, because if you can make it work, the extra mana is so important. Because you can't ramp terribly well in these colors. You are going to have this stack of cards that you have limited time to play. So any extra mana that you can get is super helpful.
Yeah, let's put a Dockside in there.
Yeah. Costs more than the deck.
Yep.
Tybalt's Rager. Cute devil, deals a damage. Let's see. Oh, that's fun. I just... This also this hits each player. I just had forgotten exactly what the text on this card was. I remember Soot Imp being a thing that I was about to die to. I think it contributed to it in the game that we played.
I do remember that.
Oh, would you like to cast a spell? Great, you lose life, and I get a free card and a counter.
Yeah, we were both basically locked out at that point.
This is very funny to me that this is the picture on Moxfield, which means this is the picture on Scryfall for Spiteful Prankster.
Does the card physically exist yet?
I don't. I mean, somebody must have had it. This is not this like because there's at least the like stock photos from the announcement of the secret layer, right?
Oh, so do you have a copy of this card?
No. This swapped when I went to.
No, I know, but like it answers my question of whether or not the physical card is in people's hands yet.
Oh, this is a reprint.
Oh, okay, sure, I got it.
Yeah. Oh, but it did ship, so it's okay, yeah. This is the best picture they got. I guess just like, yeah, it's funny because it's the troll secret lair. Anyway, yeah, just so many good instances of deal 1 damage. Here is like your ideal card for it, just cranking out devils.
Yep. Speaking of the Planeswalkers earlier, actually, the War of the Spark Tibble also just cranks out devils.
Yeah, very on theme. And in a deck that like deals incremental damage over time, the preventing life gain is probably relevant.
Unless we are gaining life somehow. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Hellrider was very good in that deck.
Ooh, and that just made me think of Rampaging Ferocidon. Also turning off life gain, also pinging for 1.
Oh. Is that card's not worth money anymore, right?
I doubt it.
That would be a nice consideration. Rampage and
wow.
Yeah, still $15. Okay,
damn.
so yes.
Okay.
Never mind. I was like, I know that it was money at some point. I guess it is still seeing constructed play somewhere.
I mean, it's in Pioneer sideboards. I don't know where else it is.
Yeah. It's not a big commander card, but yeah. Okay. And then also Raphael being a very cool like thematic thing because it's devils, and it just if a creature card was put into your graveyard, at each end step you make a devil. Okay. Sorceries. We have our budget interaction here. Bone Shards seems great for sacking a devil. I wouldn't mind seeing there's another version of this effect, but it exiles, and I think the difference being that you can only either sacrifice a creature or pay an additional 4. So
yeah, I remember. It's like the Lightning Axe kind of thing, but exile based.
Yeah. So that might be also some good removal here since you're limited on your exile effects. Yeah. Festivities and Tectonic Hazard, also 1 mana, triple trigger. Vicious Rumors, triple trigger.
Yeah. Dreadbore has that strictly better upgrade. Molten Collapse.
Yes. Which
is also gotta be cheap. It was like an uncommon, right?
No, it was a rare.
Really?
It's a buck.
Okay.
So that's a possible add here, right? Yeah, because you can always choose 1, but if you descended, which seems reasonable that you have done.
No, I mean all your devils are dying, and then kill someone's Soul Ring.
Well, but descend, remember, is a card specifically.
Oh, it has to be a card. I see.
Yeah. Okay. The Blood for Bones here, I see where this is going. Seems solid, but I wonder why you wouldn't just run Victimize. 35 cents. I think does essentially the same thing, but better, right? You're sacrificing a creature, getting 2 back to the battlefield, as opposed to 1 more mana for back to the battlefield and 1 to your hand.
There's like the weird edge case of you want to pay the cost by sacking a devil, and you can't cast Victimize if you don't have targets, but you can cast Blood for Bones if you don't. But that's all I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Instance. Yeah, so we have Not Dead After All, which actually that's funny because that is probably the least budget version of this effect, right?
Oh yeah.
If you're looking for something that that brings a creature back when it dies,
the least budget one is probably Malakir Rebirth.
Oh yes,
but
yes. This being like the next least budget, you can do all of like supernatural stamina, etc., undeath, undying, something. But yeah, both of these spells helping to protect, I'd assume, Nixilis.
Yeah, there's not many cards here you're too worked up about if they die.
Yeah. The Rakdos Charm, I believe Oso pointed this out in game, that each creature is dealing damage to its controller. So those are separate instances of Ob's trigger.
Yep, that is very cute.
And then making devils, Chaos Warp is budget. Okay. And Return the Favor is just a fun card. Artifacts. Yeah, see, like, this is the best that we've got as far as ramp goes, and I do think that one of the ways that this deck struggles is not having enough mana. I would just be, like, looking for anything I could possibly get my hands on to generate more mana. Like,
Ritual?
Well, all the rituals are money.
Dark Ritual? That's been reprinted to hell, hasn't it?
Thought Vessel is still, like, $2. Dark Ritual, 50 cents. That would be... Right, we didn't see that? Oh, it's in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the other ones, like the red rituals, are all not budget. You can maybe squeeze them in there, but I'm just like, what other rocks would I be... And this is relatively pip heavy. I'd even be fine with like Firemind's Vessel, or some expensive rocks that make colored mana, because I really want to be able to cast all of those spells since there's a clock on them.
Changing gears a little bit, I was thinking that we do have an awful lot of ways to ping for 1, but the only real payoff other than doing 1 damage is Ob. I was thinking like some spectacle cards might be good. Like Light Up the Stage seems like a very good include in this deck.
Light is still a couple bucks, right?
Is it? No, nope,
it is not.
Cents. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Although I guess the other thing too is like it's good, but the payoff you don't need is more impulse draw.
That's true.
There's probably other spectacle cards though that would work well here. I can't think of them off the top of my head.
I only know 2 that saw play.
Yes. Oh, the Oni Call Anvil. Unless I'm missing something, it doesn't seem like there are a lot of things that you can crunch with this. Like, you don't have a lot of... I don't want to be sacking my my mana rocks. Like, you have the Tithing Blade, I guess. But, like, the devils aren't artifacts. And you don't have artifacts that are leaving the battlefield, so I feel like there's maybe something better here.
Treasures and Blood is the suggestion.
Treasures and Blood, but where?
You get 1 blood from the Epicure. I don't think I saw any others.
You get a treasure, I think, from Pain Distributor. All right, you get 1 per turn, but that's still to me not enough. Mahadi, if you're getting that to work. I guess, okay, so you have a cute little Mahadi and Oni call Anvil.
True.
Engine.
Welcome, Raiders. Thank you for the raid, Jamie. We are not MTGNerdGirl, but we are streaming on her account. This is a sort of decked out operation. We are doing patron deck techs for people who have submitted their decks for us to look at and muse over for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we're here on Oni Call Anvil. Honestly, I think that it is very good when it is good, but there's not enough to go along with it. So I would either want to lean more into things that can fuel this, or I would cut it for something else. Okay.
Oh, there are a bunch of deserts, right? We have the deserts in here?
Well, there's only one legal, because you only have... They were color paired. You're thinking the ones that deal 1 damage, right?
Yes. I still make that mistake. Had a commander show for, a year and a half, and I still make that mistake? Lands are colorless, so they're fine.
Right. I don't know if there are other ones. The Shiving Gorge is like the one place ever that Shiving Gorge is a good card.
Wow. That's awful.
Right?
I don't know that I've ever seen that card before.
Yeah. Do you want to know what land cycle that was a part of?
Is it Dark Depths? It looks like Dark Depths.
It is not.
Okay. It
is maybe the best land cycle of all time. This was in the same set. It was the red representative for Gaia's Cradle, Tolarian Academy, Sarah's Sanctum.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, that's it. They're like, this is in line with that, right?
Design hasn't always been very good at their jobs.
Hey, are you kidding? In Urza Saga, everything was super balanced. Yes, I wonder if there are any other lands that are fun that could be included here, but like already found two good ones.
There's that land where you tap it and you gift your opponent a token, right? And you have that thing in the deck that pings when a creature ETBs.
Forbidden Orchard?
Is that the one?
That is not budget to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
I think it's had like 2 printings, and Forbidden Orchard is $10. Yeah.
Wow. I have no concept of what these cards cost.
I would play that more if I had one, but because it's fun to give people stuff. But yeah, it's $10. Yeah. Okay. We didn't look at enchantments quite that much. We have a Blim card here. Good. To player draw a card, you also get an op trigger.
Yep. Notably, no Roiling Vortex. Is that also an expensive card?
That is not, because that was printed into the ground.
250.
How is that 250 still?
But it's so good.
Roiling Vortex, maybe worth a look, but that surprises me that this is 250.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mount Doom, good suggestion as well, but probably still pretty expensive, right? It was a Lord of the Rings rare.
I want to say it's a Lord of the Rings mythic.
Even better, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, all of this makes sense. Underworld Dreams. Man, I remember when this was, like, unbeatable. People were like, wow, how could they print a card like this?
And then Shieldred says, hold my beer.
Right.
Hold my Phyrexian oil.
Right. What was the first... for you, chat, what was the first printing of Underworld Dreams? Was it 8th edition, or did this card exist before then? But yes, that is the era where people were like, oh, this is so broken. Yeah, punish people for tapping lands for mana. Fantastic. Okay. So we've seen the deck. Thinking of budget ways to tweak this.
Yeah, the budget is what makes it hard, right? You have a ton of black aristocrat staples, that would be great. Like Meathook Massacre is the very first thing I thought of. Also, like $50 somehow.
Yeah. I think to me, especially after having seen it played, the first thing I want to address is mana. It needs more of it, and I think that's a really hard problem to solve. It being budget and it being Rakdos.
Yeah, because mana is like fast mana is the thing that's most expensive in Commander. Period. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it doesn't even need to be fast. Like, I hope the Talisman of Indulgence was still expensive for a while.
The trick probably is leaning into treasure generation.
Yeah, Talisman of Indulgence still $3. Yeah, any way that you can get extra mana, because you want to be casting all of those spells immediately.
If you had like a more spell slingery approach, you could have like Strike It Rich, like the flashback 1 mana make a treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And if that pings someone because of some pinger you have in play, then that's great.
Yeah, because you have Firerain Archer. How much is Blood Pet? 69 cents. Nice. So it's bad. It's so bad, Ramp. But like you have some aristocrat strategies that triggers Mahdi. Like yeah, I would just want anything.
Yeah, that's awful.
Mm-hmm. What if anything else? So this deck is very good at getting Ob Nixilis triggers. Not as good at being able to play those cards. I wonder if this here is enough to protect Ob Nixilis. My instinct is no. I would be running more of these kinds of effects. Because that's your only budget way to protect Ob Nixilis.
Yeah, I think you're right. Legends, by the way, the first printing.
Legends. I don't think I've ever seen that the Legends version of that. But
in general, I think I'd like to see the deck do a little better when Ob isn't in play. Period.
Oh wow. Okay. First reprint in 8th. Yeah. You'd like to see Ob do more?
I'd like to see more payoffs for this 1 damage effect, because it seems to me that the only one really is Ob.
Okay.
So if you don't have Ob in play, then you're playing a bunch of pretty mopey cards.
What? So I'm trying to think if what those payoffs are. Because generally the payoff for something like this is amplifying the damage, but you don't want to do that because of Ob. You have stuff like Spectacle, but meh. It doesn't feel like there's something that's consistently giving you.
Then I guess I want something explosive. I want something that can just kill all of your devils or produce a ton of these triggers all at once. Like All Will Be One. Is that how much is that? Is that an expensive card? I have no idea.
It is. Okay. It's the reason. Yeah. All Will Be One is $17.
Okay.
Like yes, it is the number 1 include for a budgetless Ob Nixilis deck, but that is a lot of your budget.
Yeah, I guess I can't come up with anything on a budget level that solves that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah, the only thing is protect him as best you can.
Before it spiked, I don't remember exactly what this Sadistic Glee, before it spiked with what's its face put in a graveyard. Oh, never mind. I'm thinking a reverse sort of thing that does not synergize at all. I was thinking it did something when you put a counter on it, but okay, yeah. I think it's a very tricky puzzle. This is very well built with the constraints of budget and Ob. Whatever extra ramp that you can find, and a few little bits and pieces like upgrading your Blood for Bones, dropping the Onikal Anvil, or giving it more support.
I like the suggestion of Warlock class. I think that is another payoff.
Oh yeah, because then at the end of the turn it doubles.
Yeah.
And that's for sure budgety. Bloodletter of Aclazaz is $24? I was like thinking of what other effects like that. Okay.
Maybe Warlock class is like one of those mythic uncommons.
35 cents.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That seems good, but yeah, this is I think about as solid as you can build this with the $69 budget.
If you can find the room, I really want Roiling Vortex in there, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Next up.
I will give this a I will give this a 7 out of 10. I really love deck building restrictions, and I think that Oso has done a really good job of finding what works within that budget. I think you would need to stretch a little bit more to find the adequate mana to fuel everything I would want to do out of this deck. But that, I think, is my only complaint.
Okay.
Okay. We're on to Wraith Rider's Chishro the Shattered Blade deck. We
do somewhere. I will. You.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a deck that's looking to be pretty faithful to the spirit of Chishiro and what it wants to do. We're going wide, going tall, hitting people. Chishiro, a 4-mana 4/4 and Gruul. When an aura or equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you create a 2/2 red spirit creature token with Menace. And at the beginning of your end step, you put a counter on each modified creature you control.
Okay. I feel like there's been an awful lot of support for auras in recent memory, like with Eldraine, and like there were 2 back-to-back decks that we played. I think one was the Commander Legends one, had like a serious enchantments theme.
Yep.
And then Eldraine as well.
Yes. The Commander Legend or Commander Masters one was Abzan, and the Eldraine one was Selesnya. So this must have gotten a few goodies out of it. What was I saying? Oh, with this though, specifically looking to get to play lots of small aura or equipment, because the more there's no limit to this trigger. All right.
Oh yeah, the Naya enchantments deck as well from Fallout.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully we see some of those juicy bits here. I haven't gone over the Fallout cards enough. They're not as quite as fresh in my head to pick up for stuff like this, but okay. So remember, modified also very relevant here. You are almost always going to have modified to be able to make 5/5s with Goro. Gyre Sage, yeah, modifies itself and then continues to get bigger and bigger, so more and more mana. That's nice. Lizard Blades, because it is an equipment as well as a creature, it does trigger Chishiro. And then I believe Wraith Rider mentioned that Fertilid is really nice here because it enters, it is already a modified creature, and then you can just use the ability every turn to ramp another basic land, and it gets refilled by Chishiro.
Cute.
Yes, Grumgully to modify all of your stuff. Cool. Yes, Tago. This is a very important piece of the deck because it makes equipment tokens, but on every land entering the battlefield for you, which is another Chishiro trigger.
coming full circle, there's a Nahiri that cares about equipments, right?
I think most of them do, but
all of them bad.
I'm trying to think if there are any that you can legally play in this, because she tends to be always Boros.
Boros, yeah, true.
I don't know if there's a mono red Nahiri.
Are we? Someone's asking offline in the chat, and I don't know how to answer that in a way that doesn't answer the question by itself. I don't think we're offline.
Oh yeah, we're not offline. Hi, we're just we're keyed into this deck thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hi, OG Show.
Equipments. Kodama, real good card. Something. Putting counters on. Thundering Raiju, very strong in this.
Yep. I remember getting domed by that back in when Kamigawa was the latest set.
Mm-hmm. Because Chishiro is both helping you to go wide and make a bunch of creatures, and then you're modifying a bunch of them. So this is dealing massive damage to each opponent when it swings. I don't know what its card is. Soul Bond paired with creature. When an opponent casts a spell, put a counter on this creature.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I've never seen this card before.
Oh, you know what I want? Soul Cauldron. I wonder if that's in here.
I'm very behind putting in Agatha Soul Cauldron in this. I appreciate, though, they found room for the OG Borborygmos.
Which Borborygmos?
Just Borborygmos.
Okay.
Specifically. It does modify all your creatures. It's just a lot of mana. This thing doesn't even have haste.
It was a different time.
Different time. Okay. Sorceries. Smoke Spirit Aid is cute because it is X triggers, because each one is making an enchantment token.
Just generic good card.
Yeah. I was taking a look at this. The Traverse the Outlands cares about your greatest power among creatures you control. And yes, we are building up creatures, but it doesn't feel like this deck wants to build up a single creature aggressively. It just wants to kind of build everything gradually bigger and bigger. So I don't know that this is the best choice here.
You do pretty reliably get to cast it and have XP4. Right, because it's the turn after you cast your commander.
Yes. To me, spending 5 mana to get for that effect tapped is not worth it to me. It means, yes, when you untap, you'll have a lot more mana, but it means you're probably spending that whole turn to not affect the board. And in that case, I want it to be more than 4. Goldborn's Gambit is cute.
Yeah.
Very cute. Works very well with Tago.
Yes, for those of you who are just joining, we are reviewing patron decks. So if patrons of the appropriate tier can submit their decks, and once a month we will look through them.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Silk Guard. A nice specific. This was from the Chishiro precon, to protect not only it and a lot of your creatures, but also specifically the R's and equipment attached to them as well. And then pretty standard here: removal, removal, removal. Draw a bunch of cards. Draw lots of cards.
Yep, I like the discipline, like to not go all in on the equipment theme and then be sad when you get blown out. These are just generically powerful cards.
Mm-hmm. All right. Here's a little bit of juice. Bloodforge Battle Axe. They mentioned this one specifically because this thing gets out of hand. You get in early. You make a copy of your Bloodforge Battle Axe, but the copy of it has that ability to copy as well. So exponentially, you're getting more and more Bloodforge Battle Axe tokens. All of those triggering Chishiro.
Makes me think of star equipment of the show, Helm of the Host.
No.
No?
No. Helm of the...
Toast.
Got him.
Got him.
Got him. So, Anduril, it modifies your entire board. That's pretty handy.
Yep.
Because you don't actually have a super convenient way to modify the new tokens that you are making. Like without the help of a 7-mana Borborygmos.
Right.
So that's very nice.
Metal Cyst, of course.
Mm-hmm. Funny, it modifies itself.
Yep.
Yeah. Sword of Vengeance. Okay, so I've never been a fan of this card. But is it relevant giving any of the creatures here first strike, vigilance, trample, haste? Because that is an expensive equip for an effect to me that is not worth it.
Yeah, I can't come up with anything. Someone is saying that Strong Back would be a good addition. Do you know what that is?
Strong Back. It reduces the amount that you have to spend to equip or play an aura, I think, on the enchanted creature. And I think also gives it a boost.
Okay. Does sound good.
Yeah. We can do this a lot easier. Strong Back. Yeah, equips that cost 3 less, auras cost 3 less, and +2 for each one. Yeah, seems good. The Hammer of Nizan, I guess, is a way to equip this for free, but that's not worth it to me. What this does do is equip your Bloodforged Battle Axe for free.
Yep.
Because that gets very expensive when you have 50 copies of it. They pointed out Cauldron of Souls. This is super cute. Because let's say somebody goes to like board wipe or something. You're like, great, I'll activate my Cauldron of Souls, and I will give everything persist. So they'll come back this one time. You know how persist works because it puts a -1/-1 counter on it, and then they can't come back if they have -1/-1 counters. Except then Trishiro sees, oh, they're counters, therefore modified. At the end of the turn, I will put +1/+1 counters on all of them, negating the -1/-1 counter. And Cauldron of Souls, even though it seems like a sacrifice ability to use it, is just a tap. This is a reusable ability.
Yeah.
So it is very hard to then kill any of your stuff.
And also, each +1/+1 counter is effectively a shield counter. So if you have like 5 counters on something, you get to save it from a board wipe 5 times. Right?
No. Persist does need it to actually hit the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But it brings it back then with a -1/-1 counter. Okay. Enchantments. This seems actually kind of low for something that wants to play a bunch of them. Because I think one of the first things you pointed out was there could certainly be more of the auras that enchant your lands to ramp, right?
Yeah.
You could run Wild Growth here. You could run you said Wolf Willowhaven, Fertile Ground, Overgrowth.
Crashing Footfalls is another one to like haste a creature.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would recommend all of those. Giant Inheritance is really nice here because every turn you're also making an additional monster roll, which triggers Chishiro. Yeah, this seems pretty solid. All right, cool. I'm going to hit you with the hottest Chishiro tech you've ever seen in your life. Meet 2 cards. One is a Magic the Gathering card called Dan Lewis. Dan Lewis says, non-creature, non-equipment artifacts you control are equipment in addition to their other types, and we don't care what that equipment does. But that means that anytime, if you play a mana rock, it enters and is an equipment, therefore triggering Chishro. That means if you make a treasure token, that is an equipment that triggers Chishro.
Yep. That's incredible.
Right? But, like, there's only one card that has an effect like that, so it's really hard to, maybe get something like that out. Unless, of course, you also had a second version of this that was harder to interact with. There is the enchantment Bludgeon Brawl, where, again, each non-creature, non-equipment artifact is an equipment that has an equip thing that nobody cares about. And this one, even better, is symmetrical. So you can then do weird things to, like, destroy your opponent's equipment, blah, blah, blah. But yes, I think both of these make Chishro super fun, very interesting, and are just, like, added value in general. Because I mean, even just in this, your Soul Ring triggers, your Cauldron of Souls triggers, all this stuff, and you incidentally make treasures and other tokens. Yeah, those are my absolute number one recommendations to work into the deck. Dan Lewis and Bludgeon Brawl.
Yeah, those seem like must includes to me.
Mm-hmm. What else would I say here about this? I don't see why you wouldn't ramp more in this deck. It feels like there are other dorks that would be happy to be in this deck, like the Adapt one.
Incubation Druid.
Or I mean, even just like, Llanowar Elves, Birds of Paradise. This is happy to have more creatures on the board because all of those creatures turn into threats since you're gradually modifying everything. And I like getting to do my things before other people. This has 2 ways to avoid a board wipe. I don't think it has more than that.
There's no effect that says they are creatures on your turn or something, right? During your opponent's turn, they like the equipments become creatures on your turn and then aren't on theirs.
I don't know of one off the top of my head. That would be also nice. Like kind of the new Commander Bellow, but I don't think a lot of these would qualify. Oh, and Bellow specifies also not equipment.
Basking Brood Scale has been called.
Basking Brood Scale. This is... Oh, yes. Great, because every time that you are adding another counter to it, and it modifies itself. Yep, very on board with that. There's probably more from Amon Horizon since putting a counter on thing was a supported mechanic.
Stonecoil Serpent comes to mind.
Yeah, automatically modified, always on curve.
And hard to interact with.
Yes. Yeah. I think the only other thing I was thinking here is this does get hurt pretty bad by a board wipe, so I would look for maybe one more type of effect to save my board. You have Wrap in Vigor, which is a 2-mana instant to regenerate all of your creatures. I don't know if there's another way to indestructible everything.
Is there like a red-green card that gives things shield counters? Because those would modify and protect from a board wipe.
That's a very good idea. I don't know of one. But I I would bet that there are, because shields were in white and green. Yeah, I would say take a look at that. Like, just do a quick scryfall of, you know, Gruul Colors shield counter, and I bet you would find some stuff in there. That seems great.
I want Mecha Godzilla. The
Oh,
one every combat you put a counter on it.
Crystalline Giant.
That's
yes.
the one. Yeah.
I think it's just a fun card. It's
Me
a fun
too.
card. Okay. Yeah. Happy with the land count. Deck is cool. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. There's a green enchantment that gives shield counters when your creatures attack. That I am interested in. Do you know its name?
It's like 3 mana. It's when your creatures attack, put a shield counter on one of them, and then when it hits, you have to remove it to draw a card. I believe is what that text is. I don't remember. I don't remember what. Family's Favor is an enchantment. Yeah, when you attack, put a shield counter on target attacking creature, and then when it deals combat, you have to remove the counter from it to draw a card.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna give this deck. I'm gonna give this deck a 7 out of 10. Some very good, fun choices, like the idea with the Fertilid for constant ramp, and found some very interesting includes here. Yeah, like the game plan is very fun. I think it really folds to like some board wipes, but that's an easy problem to fix. And now you have Dan Lewis Bludgeon Brawl fun to try out.
So you think it'll score better if they modify it?
So our next deck, next and final deck, is from Red.
Yes.
And this is Faramir, Steward of Gondor. I have not seen a lot of these decks, so this will be fun. We're focusing on being able to hit that first trigger, which I'll read in a moment, consistently, but would like some help to find replacements to 5 drops becoming 4 drops. So Faramir, 3 mana 2/2. When a legendary creature with mana value 4 or greater enters under your control, you become the monarch. And then at your end step, if you're the monarch, you make 2 1/1s. Nice and simple.
That is surprisingly little text for a modern day commander.
Mm-hmm.
I am struggling to come up with 4 mana legends in blue-white that aren't already in here, though.
Well, let's see what we got. Because for sure you want to be dropping Faramir on 3 and then being able to play something that triggers his ability on turn 4. And that, I think, just automatically lends itself to like a legendary theme.
Right, and I remember we were talking about this before. You had said Wrath Capuchin.
Yes.
Which is a 4-drop and pays off your other legends.
Yes, that was one of the first ones to look at. Yeah, because he's a 4-drop. All your historic stuff, so even better than just legendaries, has flash. And because it itself has flash, if somebody hits you and steals the monarch, you can steal it back like at a random time in the turn rotation. If that matters for, I'd assume, like one of the courts or something, you want to make sure that you're the monarch at your upkeep.
Sure.
But yeah, we have legendaries, legendary and human. It looks like there's some human synergy. We have like Coppercoat Vanguard. Yes. Alondra is nice because it profits off of you getting your second draw because of Monarch consistently. I wonder if there are any good ways to then hit your 5th draw. But that's tricky too, because you want to hit your 5th draw before the end of your turn to get... But, I mean, hey, at the very least, it's 5 mana, you're making a Drake every turn. Mondrak also seems very good here. Legendary 4-drop that's doubling those tokens you're making at the end of your turn.
Yep.
Let's see. Of course, we have the crew here for flavor.
Mangara, pretty good 4-drop legend in the colors, yeah.
Yeah. Mangara.
And Miro, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, those two are very, very good.
I had another one in my head. There's Brago. I wonder how many things here have ETBs that we're happy about. Boromir does. You can re-trigger Welcoming Vampire, or I guess trigger it is once per turn. Rosie has an ETB.
Well, if you blink the vampire, then it gets a new thing, right?
Oh yeah, so if you blink it, yeah, and something that triggers it. Great, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could also you get double Witch Enchanter triggers. There's that's a reasonable include. Okay. And then otherwise it just looks like more like kind of combat-y synergy because you get the Odrix and Myro wants to swing.
I feel like looking at this, I really want to make this a Historic Matters deck more than a Legends Matter deck.
Okay.
Because I feel like you could put Tashar in there
and
get a bunch of triggers basically for free. Ezram cares about having artifacts in play, which are historic permanents. I think that you could expand... Like, we're having trouble finding good cards to fill out the deck. So we can either put bad cards in, or we can expand what we're willing to work with. I think switching to that might actually be pretty helpful.
Yeah, I like that. Alright, sorceries. We're drawing cards. We are resetting the game. That's what we're here to do.
Yep.
I feel like you could be running some better board wipes here. I don't like Farewell. And I don't know that it particularly, like, you can suit it to your needs here. It's just like, it's powerful, sure, but
I feel like Austere Command is, like, made for this deck, right? Like, you want a ton of things that are 4 or more so you can wipe 3 or less.
Yeah, you can wipe 3 or less. You could run Urza's Ruinous Blast.
Yep.
Because you're focused on legendary creatures. All will always support run all the MDFCs you can. Okay, instance. Yeah. Look at this interaction. Removal, counter, protect my stuff, counter.
Right. I remember before we were looking at this deck before, the Flare of Denial. Does not really have a lot of food to cast it for free.
That's true, yeah. If we look, because remember, this has caught me many, many times. The flares cannot sacrifice tokens. You must sacrifice a real card. And the number of blue creatures that we would be happy to sacrifice is very, very low.
Yeah, maybe Lavinia.
Yeah, like, in a pinch, like the Thoptrix, I guess. Wonder, but that shouldn't be on your board anyway. Yeah, I think that is either like an oops that I've done already, or give it some more support, give it some other things to sacrifice. Yeah.
What have you done?
I hit the button to go up. Okay. Yes. Also, what is this Settle the Wreckage in here for? That is usually a meta choice. Because this is only defense against a single person. You can do it much more efficiently for less mana, but it is a big screw specifically you.
I can't come up with a reason.
Yeah. I would bet it's specifically somebody that they're running into.
So the wreckage is ramp? So you're targeting yourself?
Right. I forget that people do that. It is ramp. Yeah, I guess.
What are we attacking with that we're happy?
All the 1/1s.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I guess I feel the same way that I do about like that other ramp spell that we were talking about. Like you're both blowing your attack and 4 mana on your own turn to ramp. Like it better be a lot of 1/1s.
And if you have a lot of 1/1s, you probably already had plenty of mana in the first place to generate them, right?
Mm-hmm. But let's see. What else we got?
I like the number of 2 mana rocks. I think I want as many of those as possible, so I'm very likely to cast 4 drops on turn 3.
Well, the problem though then is you don't have Faramir in play, so you don't get the trigger.
Yeah, but I want the flexibility to be able to cast a 4-drop instead of Faramir. Like most of these cards should be generically good, otherwise the deck won't be very good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You also don't have to convince me for more rocks. You're missing Azorius Signet
and Mind Stone.
And I don't think you're passing hand limit here, but like Thought Vessel would be fine. You are drawing hopefully 2 cards at least a turn. Okay, and then pump my tokens. A very hopeful Ominous Seas. Because we did not see a ton of card draw. We know we're drawing 2 cards a turn, but that is still 4 turns before you make an 8/8.
Yeah, I mean, unless you specifically need a cycler for some reason. Like, there's no other cycling synergy that we've seen, right?
No. Kozilek's Unsealing. It's the first time we've seen this outside of a Naldrazi deck. Kind of ramp.
I like it.
You are casting these bigger things.
I really like it,
How
actually.
many 7s do we have? That's the other thing. 1. So I would throw another 1 or 2 7 drops in there. Like drawing 3 cards is great.
Yeah, but I'm also fine if you don't. Like, this generates mana. It's a play that you can make before your top heavy deck gets to cast its 4 drops. Choosing between casting this and your commander is going to be tough.
Right.
But they're both the same, right? Like, practically, whichever one you put into play is going to generate you some token when you cast your 4-drop.
Yes.
It's just whether if you think your commander's not likely to live, but an enchantment would be, then having that option is good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, for this deck, it would take a lot for me to not be playing Faramir on turn 3. Because if I don't think he is eating removal, and I want to be the Monarch as soon as possible.
Sure.
So this fighting for that spot for me is hard, and I don't think you want to be playing this later unless you know that you're going to get some card draw out of it too. But I think that's where I'm at for that. We are stopping people from attacking because Monarch.
Yeah.
And each opponent draws, you draw a card for each card drawn this way, or whenever a player attacks you with one or more creatures, they get twice that many rad counters.
That's a weird tension with Ghostly Prison and Propaganda, I guess, but make it even harder to attack you. Why not?
Yeah. There's like, I would sub this out for, are they running like Baird?
Oh, did I leave the 12-hour stream text in the title of the... Yeah, I just hit start streaming, so whatever the last title was is the current title.
Yes, if the intention of this is like third bad copy of Propaganda, I would swap it out for Baird, like something. I don't know if you were seen.
No, I don't think she quite made the cut.
Oh.
That's all.
Oh, okay.
How many deck lists do you guys have left?
Half of one.
This is our last one. I would swap this out. It's a 4-drop legendary creature that also taxes attacks. Right? That's the name of this guy?
He exists. I know there is a Baird.
Baird, Steward of Argiv. Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. I would rather have that unless there is a purpose for this card that I am missing. But, yeah. Okay, and then we have 34 lands, 37 including NWFC. I'm happy with that.
Pull the YouTube back to the front.
Cool. I'm happy with that, but you always do want to check. Are your MDFCs cards that you would rather be casting, like, much more than a land? This one, not so much. So, cool, we'll count that one. This one, not so much. We'll count that one. What was the last one? Which is in on the other side of that. So to me in deck building, like, quickly, this is 36 lands. Fine with that. I don't know that there are lands that help us out here.
I know you have a Reliquary Tower if you're worried about max hand size. 2-color deck, you have a lot of utility options.
Yeah.
War Room, maybe. Like, paying 2 is not crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a Reliquary Tower already.
Okay. There is a land that gives you Monarch. It's expensive, but I guess if you really want to get it.
Fortified Beachhead. How many soldiers are in the deck?
Make soldiers? Make soldiers.
Oh, they are soldiers. Cool. Then I want Harbin more than I want Lavinia.
Was there a 4-drop soldier thinger too?
I don't remember. That would have always been too expensive. But yeah, no, definitely. If they make soldiers, I think Harbin for Lavinia is an easy swap.
Yeah. Yeah, because I want to say there was also a... Yeah, when you talk to 5 or more soldiers, they get +1 in flying. It seems good.
Yep.
In Brothers War, something that would cost 4. That was not Myrel. That would be good here too. Okay. There's the deck. Yeah, so we swap in some of those. I think you go Raf Capuchin, Mondrak, Baird, put Harbin in there. But I'm not counting that right now because that's not a 4-drop. I thought of Brago.
Yep.
All seem good. Myrel is in the deck. And then I don't know that I love Ezram here. I feel like this is just like, oh, I needed something that triggers it. Card is fine, but that is maybe one that gets subbed out. Valor is super cute, and I hate telling anybody to cut this, but like, there weren't really great ways to get stuff into the graveyard conveniently. I think if you had like a Ledger Shredder and like leaned more heavily into being able to cast cheaper legends and get payoffs from them, then yeah, but yeah, like the upside on Wonder I think is okay if you really want to run it. But Valor is not quite.
That makes me want a Meticulous Archive in the mana base, just as like a small thing. The Surveil land.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's some 4-drops to add or replace some of your other creatures with. I know depending on your aim for the Kozilek's unsealing, it would hurt to have like 1 or 2 7-drops maybe. Check out Brothers War to see if there was any other soldier like legendaries that we're missing. Or maybe even just the soldier synergy is fine on its own. Like this, what's the Sky Strike Officer or whatever.
That's it. Yep, draw cards by tapping 3 soldiers.
Yeah, that seems fantastic. Because maybe you can't get the Monarch, but you've got the soldiers. You can still trigger all of your double draw things. Yeah, I like the interaction package. I would sub the Settle and the Farewell for some board wipes that are more advantageous to you specifically. Toss an Azorius Signet in there. Probably cut Struggle and Ominous Seas.
Yeah, and swap out like the Surveil land for something.
Yeah, drop a basic Meticulous Archive.
Struggle is 3 draws per turn.
Struggle is 3 draws per turn.
Beginning of your upkeep, each opponent draws a card. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. That is just a very strong Magic card.
Okay, yeah. Yep, missed that. I was focused on the second part. I was like, I guess it's a slight attack deterrent. No, all right, yeah, you're drawing 3 cards. That's fine. Okay. I would say I like that you're playing a commander that is like less played. Always on board for that. It has an interesting deck building requirement. Points there.
But you're not quite sold you're on the deck? Wow, when Veggie ignores me, you know it's bad. Normally that's the nerd girl thing.
I don't know though. I can't quite do it. Sometimes she'll ignore you like into your eyes. I'm like,
yeah, nope. I've gotten that a lot. Usually I sit across the table from her. Hasn't stopped me yet though.
Yes, I would give this. I would give this a 6 out of 10. I think the other thing that maybe we have not addressed quite enough too is that I don't know this deck's main win condition. I think if we make the adjustments that we talked about here, it does what it wants to do. It'll go turn 3 Faramir, turn 4 cool legendary creature. We are the Monarch. Make some soldiers. Now what? It'll be able to build a board of creatures, but what ultimately gets them through in a way that is threatening, or...
Is there some Convoke thing? I didn't see a whole lot of use for tokens beyond just pump the tokens.
The only one that I saw was Parry, which is a good use of them. Your first historic spell is...
Benny Brax.
Benny Brax!
Yeah.
Benny Brax is a 4, too! Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. Can you... could you... I'm just thinking, can you Faramir and Benny Brax in the same turn? But I think you would have to have, like, something real weird would have to happen for that to happen.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. But yes, Benny Brax. Oh my God, put that in there.
You can't? Why can't you?
It's probably you can't have a setup where you have.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where you have Faramir, you'd need 3 other creatures on board already.
Benny has an if, so it doesn't trigger off Faramir. Huh?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because sure, because this
timing on this.
The intervening if.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it is still worth playing Benny Brax here because it's a 4-cost legendary creature that you at least are able to pay for practically free, and then you have other things that are making tokens. Because this Faramir makes tokens, right? Not it. That is also end step. We have Rosie.
I guess not much.
Council of 4.
Ezra makes clues. We're not limited to just the soldier tokens.
Ezrin, Myrel,
the blue 4-drop.
Yeah.
Protect the Negotiators makes a token.
I would be tempted to retool a little bit because that to me sounds so good, but yes, not quite as incredibly perfect as originally thought. But okay. Yeah, solid 6. I would also need to figure out how, what is my main win condition other than I happened to eventually be wider than they are.
I do think that if you're ever in a position where you need a really good top deck, you have to tell your opponents that you're hoping for a miracle. And that's the show.
Wow, 12 hours, we made it.
Yeah, that was quite a ride.
Whew.
All right.
Now what do we do?
I think we close it out because NerdGirl has a stream that she needs to do soon, and we are in her office.
Okay. So we leave it running.
We leave it running, yes. And then we actually do get a 12-hour stream, probably.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, thank you so much to all the patrons who submitted deck lists. I hope that this was helpful. If you want to see your deck list featured on the show, then head on over to our Patreon, and you can sign up for the Renowned or higher tier, and you'll get one of these reviewed every month. Anything else?
Just keep an eye out. Make sure that you are you're sub to Decked Out, because we've got a lot of really good episodes that are about to come out. So
it is actually a particularly good run
of
episodes coming out. Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'll see you next month, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Later, guys.
Bye. All right, yeah, you do this. I don't know how to do this.